Hi, Tony Bradshaw with AddSomeToYourIncome.com to speak about how to make $630 in fundraising, which was just succeeded, announced, and completed today. Before I go into how to do that, I would first like to talk about what experience I have, what credentials I have to be a speaker. I don't think I've taken the time to really talk about where I am to be a speaker. It's on my mind, so I want to share it. I'm also very tired. I want to just briefly touch on that and how important it is to still stick to your discipline, knowing when to rest and knowing when to keep going, when to make sure you stick to your plan so that your plan works. And of course, I will get into the details of raising $630. Okay, I guess I'll talk about the being disciplined part first. I know this is very important. In what I've read and what I know about how life works, how it works for me at least, and I'm sure you'll find this out for yourself. What I know is that there will be walls that you will hit, and you're exhausted. And when you hit one of those walls, you have choices to make. Very clear choices. Right now, I have about a bajillion things that need to get done. My time is the time to make this video. I felt very unprepared. I'm being maybe a little too personal, but maybe you have these moments where it's scheduled time and you are just exhausted. You have too many other things to do. You feel too pressed. You want to go and get these other things done. And your schedule, your plan, what you do for your discipline is happening in the now. You have a choice. Do you take a rest, which is a very what's the word I'm looking for? Viable option. You can do what you're going to do and maybe still feel the exhaustion or find the energy to move forward. I'll be a little bit honest. I did take one of the donuts from the staff lounge just about 20 minutes ago. That is in my system, helping me to push through this wall and be able to talk about how to make more money so that I can help you, because I've set my plan to help other people by going over how to make more money. I have a bachelor's degree in economics. I study money as a hobby, kind of, not just a hobby, but I'm interested in it. I have a perspective on money and how to be in the black most people haven't focused on and build an entire speaking repertoire on. I am planning to speak about repertoire. That's a really big word. Anyway, I am speaking about how to add to your income, how to get yourself in the black, how to focus on the side of the balance sheet that is positive instead of all the negative stuff you hear about money. Reduce, less, and all the trimming, cutting, blah, blah, blah. I want to, and I focus on how to add to the income, how to increase what it is flowing into me by creating things of value that others will compensate me for. How to make $630 in fundraising. This video right now is the result of me not being able to stop talking about this. I remember reading in one of the books about public speaking, which I've read many. As a teacher, I get books from the library. I get a stack of books on a subject. The period of time I prepared to be a teacher, I read about 52 books a year for 3 years on public speaking. That was my goal at the time, 52 books on public speaking. I remember reading in one of these books, it said that public speakers get to this point of exhaustion and keep going because they can't stop talking about what they're talking about. When you get to the point that you can't stop talking about what you have to talk about, you're willing to down a quick donut in the staff lounge and get in front of the camera at the scheduled time to make yours. This is my scheduled time. As a teacher, my time is so precious with all the meetings and with the fact that I've spent the day teaching lessons, working with what I work with, which is an exhausting job. It is miraculous what teachers accomplish. Anyway, enough about me. Let's get into how you can make $630 in fundraising. If you have been following my last few videos, and if not, feel free to look back and subscribe to what's coming ahead. You will know that I go to the PTA asking for grants, asking for fundraisers. The PTA has funds available to help teachers, and so I go there to ask about money. I have had times that I've asked for money and they've said, no, we're not going to pay for you to go to class. I've had times that I've asked for money and they've said, maybe, let's discuss it, and then finally get to a yes, we will pay for you to go to class. Literally asked for payment to go to different classes, and at one time it was a no, definitely not, and another time it was maybe, yeah, okay, yeah. I will say the time they said yes, it was because I told them as part of I was actually going to a national conference, I would get a binder with notes on every presenter from that conference that would come back to school, because the PTA would fund my going. That would become school property and be able to be in the classroom. And that, I really think, is what helped them, because I know the PTA likes to look for ongoing benefit and actual materials, not just go be in a class, but be in a class and bring all these materials back. They supported that. All right, so I go to the PTA and ask for funds. The PTA usually says maybe. And then they set up for, well, I always see it as more to do. This time when I asked for some funds to help get students into the camp that I direct, the answer was, we'll do, for the 11 you're asking for, we'll do $25 each, so $275. Okay, $275. This is a past story, but I'm bringing you up to speed. So $275, and my request was $1,850. That's a big difference, like a really big difference. That's still $1,625 that I'm looking for. No, not 25, sorry, 15. Anyway, that's my math and exhaustion, because I'm usually really good at math. $1,615 difference. So they say at the PTA meeting, we will have 3 fundraising events. Now, in one of my just prior videos, I showed the Otter Pop container, and I showed we're selling Otter Pops. It's a hot day, and they're flying off the shelves, literally, and making this money. So we have calculated up after these 3 events, and it's about $630 and some change. The way this happened was because the PTA is part of the community, and they brought in people to help. I wasn't the one standing there selling the Otter Pops. I was busy teaching class and having my duty obligations, and I was able to check in, and there were parents that were there. This came together fairly quickly in less than a week. Parents were there helping to sell the Otter Pops. Otter Pops have been donated. More Otter Pops than we needed. Lots of Otter Pops. We had these Otter Pops for the students. They got Otter Pops. Purchased them for $1, so 50 cents each. That brought in so much money. The little box we were using to keep the money in, they're like, we can't shove this down anymore to close the lid. And there's another one in the office. And I went and got the other one in the office and brought it out. We unloaded most of the money, locked it in. I made sure a student walked with me while I went with it. It's very wise to have 2 people when it comes to any money. So students walking with me, and I have the money, and it's closed and locked, and I take it down to the front office for them to then count and process. And the process then became that the front office tallied up how much was made. That was awesome that they helped out with that. In fact, I need to make sure to give a nice thank you, because I haven't gotten to that yet. And because I'd like to do that, I will next put that on my Thankful Thursday. Thankful Thursday, I sit down somewhere around Thankful Thursday, I write down, I'm thankful for whatever things have happened, and give thank you notes to people, which is another nice practice that does increase your gift income. I will talk more about that, and you can learn more about gift income and how to increase it in some of my other videos. Back to this idea. Once the secretaries count up that money, they then put it into the account to get it over to the PTA. The PTA is cutting a check directly to the camp itself to be able to get us funds available for families to apply and receive the chance of being at camp. The raising of $630 results in more campers at the camp. More campers at the camp also wraps back around. This reminds me of the quote that my parents' business had when I was a kid, which is, you pay them so they can pay him, so he can pay her, so she can pay us, so so she can pay you, right? The money flows around. I messed that up. Okay, you pay him, you pay them so they can pay him, so he can pay her, so she can pay you. That's how the money flows, right? There is a flow to the money. Those dollars keep getting passed. The feeling of fundraising is exhausting. I started there. You really need to know what you're doing with the money and making sure it's going to be a viable, community supported thing. And then at the end of it, is that it was announced over the intercom how much we raised. And that feeling of, okay, awesome. We came together as a community and have raised this amount of money. Still more to do, so I'm going to get to work on some other things. And I look forward to seeing you on the other side.